Okay, you can have a seat. Thank you. Today's the date and time set for a formal hearing. I have, I believe, one witness on Zoom. Counsel, you can proceed.
Officer Vanderwerf, would you state your name for the records, please?
Oh, you want to call him? Let me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Swear, man, no worries. Vanderwerf, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, Judge. So I was traveling southbound on King when I observed a pickup truck in front of me that was changing lanes, failing to use its signal. So at that time, I activated my overhead lights on the vehicle to initiate a traffic stop. And then I made contact with the driver, who was later identified as a Rambo L. In our contact, he ended up handing me a piece of paper. At brief glance, when I looked at the piece of paper, it appeared to have what I believe was certain MCL codes that the subject may have typed onto the piece of paper. When I had asked him for a driver's license or identification, he was not really very cooperative. I also don't believe I was provided any insurance. At that time, I decided to issue him a citation for failing to signal, changing lanes, and failing to display a valid license, and then also the license plate through the system was expired.
Mr. L, did you want to question the witness?
Yes. The document that you were referring to, it was a travel document. I was showing you I was traveling versus driving, and I tried to explain that to you. And then you held me on the side of the road for approximately an hour. I requested a supervisor because they might better understand what I was doing, and you never provided that for me. Is that correct?
That's actually incorrect, because the reason that you were held on the stop for as long as you were is because I was waiting for a supervisor. So when I realized the supervisor was not there, I contacted him by phone, at which time he said he was delayed. And when I came back up to the traffic stop, I did ask if you wanted to wait further for a sergeant, and I don't believe that you did. And then you drove off when you were free to go.
Yes. Is it correct that I was held on the road for approximately an hour waiting for this whole encounter to end?
I do not remember if it was an hour specifically, but I do remember that the time length was probably, I would say probably close to that at the very least.
Well, it was an hour, and it caused me to be late for my son's banquet. And the reason, and I never got to speak to a supervisor. That's all the questions I had.
Okay, any redirects?
No redirect, Your Honor.
Okay, any additional witnesses today?
None from the city.
Okay, Mr. L, are you calling witnesses today, or did you want to give your own testimony?
I would like to, I have some, I have a defense, my motion.
Okay, well, you filed a motion?
Yeah, I filed a motion, served across the
When
city
did you file a
attorney.
motion?
It was filed, it was mailed February 18th.
You filed a motion and mailed it February 18th. Did you serve a copy?
To the clerk of the courts and also to the city attorney's office.
Did you receive any motion, sir?
Your Honor, we did receive a motion. It did not have any hearing date stated on it. We had no timetable for a response. I would be happy to respond to the motion on the record orally or provide the court with briefing if they would like.
The court didn't get a copy of the motion in February.
I sent it to the clerk. And,
yeah, typically when that happens, it's just attached to the file. I don't have a copy of any motion.
Well, I did my due diligence. I sent a copy to him. He has his.
Well, I don't know that you did your due diligence, because when you file a motion, you got to get a hearing date for that motion. And so
who's supposed to give me a hearing?
You got to get the hearing date from the clerk's office.
From the clerk's office?
Yeah.
So why did they give me one?
Did you contact them for a hearing date?
I contacted them, yeah.
And asked for a hearing date for your motion?
And I asked when was my hearing. They confirmed that it was today.
For your motion.
And I asked, did I have a hearing date? And they said.
And you do have a hearing date, but that's not what I asked you. Did you ask them, did you have a hearing date for your motion?
For my motion?
Yes.
They didn't tell me, but I did provide to him an order for the motion that gave him 21 days to respond.
Okay, you can make your motion before the court because I don't have a copy. You can make it now, orally.
Okay, well, now comes the beneficiary for Rambo L, defendant in error, here by special appearance, not submitting to the court's jurisdiction, hereby moves the court to strike and dismiss the complaint filed by the officer Zenderbar. Am I pronouncing that right? Sorry if I'm not. For lack of ratification and commencement, no corpus delicti, no plaintiff lacks jurisdiction, personal firm jurisdiction. Christina Simmons being appointed as trustee, the prosecutors being appointed as co-trustee, I, Rambo L, an executor and beneficiary of a set of account. Also, I filed a declaration of non-citizenship nationality because I've done a name change. Where my point of authorities are the United States District of Columbia Corporation in Volume 20, Corpus Juris Section 1785. We find United States government as a foreign corporation with respect to the states. Since the corporation is a fictitious person, it can't see, speak, smell, or touch itself. It's a fiction in the real world. It needs a conducting, transmitting utility, allegiance, some sort of connection to a fictional person. Constitutional Amendment number 1, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of a religion, prohibiting free exercise thereof, abridging freedom of speech or right of press or right of people, peaceful assemble, petition the government for redress of grievance. Number 5, Constitutional Amendment. The right of people should be secure in their person, houses, papers, in effect against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued upon probable cause supported by an oath or affirmation, particularly describing the place search of persons, things to be seized. And then number 7, Constitutional Amendment, suits at common law where value of controversy exceeding $20, the right of the jury trial shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States according to the rules of common law. I asked for a jury trial and didn't get that. Rambo L is a man, people, but not a person. I was not operating in commerce, nor was I a driver on the road for travel. A driver is an employee transporting goods or passengers. Rambo was just merely traveling and in my private property. Here are some examples of my Supreme Court constitutional defenses. Number 1, case number 1, the right to travel is part of the liberty where citizen cannot be deprived of due process under the Fifth Amendment, Kent versus Duels, 357 U.S. 116, 125. Case number 2, I have the right to travel freely and unencumbered pursuant to Shapiro versus Thomas, 394 U.S.P. 618. That right is so basic, it doesn't even need to be mentioned. The state of Michigan arbitrarily and erroneously perverted my right into a privilege and issue a license and a fee for it. Murdoch versus Pennsylvania, 319 U.S. 105. Supreme Court trumps everything. Says that no state can convert a secured liberty into a privilege and issue a license and fee for it. Case number 4, Shuttle versus Birmingham, Alabama. It shows that I can ignore a license and engage in the right with a community. Case number 5, Marbury versus Madison, 5 U.S. 137 shows that any law in violation of the Constitution is null and void. Case number 6, Shuttleworth versus Birmingham, 373 U.S. 262 says I may ignore the license and the fee and engage with the right with the immunity. That means you can't punish me. And United States versus Bishop defines willfulness as an evil motive or intent to avoid a known duty task under the law with a morality certain. I submit I couldn't have been doing a evil task. I totally followed the Constitution in the Supreme Court. Bryers versus United States says it shows how the judge is supposed to interpret the Constitution, and it's supposed to be interpreted in favor of me. AM Jurisprudence, Volume 16, Section 97 of the Constitutional Law section says it should be received as a liberal interpretation in favor of the citizen, especially true with respect to those who were designated to safeguard the liberty and security of a citizen in regards to both persons and property. See Note 31, Bryers versus United States. No state may convert a liberty into a privilege. Murdoch versus Pennsylvania. An appearance ticket is not an accusatory instrument. It doesn't confer jurisdiction over the defendant. People versus Gabay, 670 New York 2D 92517. I was not engaged in a commercial trade at the time of the alleged infraction, and I do not proceed to say a license is upon a constitutional detention. Motor vehicle means every description of a carrier drawn by mechanical power used in commercial purposes on a highway. There's neither injury nor trespasses. Any trespasses. All crimes are commercial. 27 CFR 72.11, and every alleged crime has to have a nature and cause and be prosecuted by the name of the people of the state. I don't have a contract with the state. I don't see an injured party. I don't know why I'm here.
Any additional argument on your motion?
I would like the court. I would ask the court to dismiss this to failure to state a claim where relief can be granted.
The court has heard the argument. I'm first address your motion, Mr. L, and I'm going to deny your motion as
I don't have a contract with the state. I don't see a party. I don't know why I'm here.
Clearly indicated in the response by the city. Your claims would be most appropriately brought before the Court of Claims, and so you can't challenge a constitutional issue in this court. Okay, as it relates to the authority and the process to bring this matter before the district court as it relates to your civil infractions, you have an expired plate and a failure to signal. Again, a jurisdiction or venue before this court is appropriate. This is a situation or incident that occurred in the area of South MLK, Martin Luther King Boulevard. That's in the city of Lansing, Ingham County, state of Michigan. And so you're subject to the laws and the ordinances of the city of Lansing, but also the laws under the Michigan Compile laws. Here in this district court, we are subject to the Michigan court rules. And so, although I gave leniency with your motion, it was not properly filed and or served, but it also does not comport with the Michigan compile laws or Michigan court rules. And so, for those reasons, it is denied. Now, as to the civil infraction, failed to signal an expired plate from December 3rd, 2022. We do not provide any valid dispute or defense to these civil infractions. You could have appeared and showed information that demonstrated you did have a valid plate at the time, or that you even have one now, which could reduce the citation, but that's not taking place. And so I'm going to sustain both violations of civil infractions. There's a fine of $125 on each. Okay, sir?
My next defense, am I just done, or can I say something else?
You can say something else. I asked you if you had any further defense, but you said. My
next defense would be, Michigan allows 72 hours to register any vehicle when it's first purchased. He never asked for anything. I never got a chance to explain myself on the side of the road.
Okay, do you have proof that you had just purchased it within 72 hours?
I don't have the title.
Okay, thank you. So if the defense is not meaningful, if you can't provide any evidence to support that defense. That being said, your fine is $125 on each file. When do you intend to make payment?
Do I have a chance to appeal this?
You can.
I would like to appeal.
Okay, you want to file an appeal as to the civil infraction?
I want to file an appeal today.
Okay, you can file a motion for reconsideration. But you need to follow Michigan court rules, okay? We don't submit to the sovereign rules, okay? You take that to the sovereign court.
What we just witnessed is a classic courtroom collision between personal belief and legal reality. The defendant leaned heavily on sovereign citizen arguments, claiming no contract, no jurisdiction, and a right to travel, but the court operates on established law, not individual interpretation. And that's the key takeaway: no matter how strongly someone believes in these defenses, without evidence and proper legal grounding, they simply don't hold up in court. The judge stayed focused on facts. Expired registration, failure to signal, and that's what ultimately decided the case. So here's the question: do you think arguments like these should ever work in court, or was this outcome inevitable?